Welcome back to another episode of This Takes the Cake. We have a special guest today. It's not a vendor. It's not another owner. It is a past bride. Taylor, now Titus, is here, married name. She was a full planning bride with our SMU Palm Beach office, so she came back to hang with us today.
I did. I was super excited about it.
Which means we didn't suck at our wedding.
No, they did a great job.
So we figured we would be helpful for all of our viewers and past brides, upcoming brides, to see through the process of how it was to plan with us and how it was to go through the whole process. Because we did full planning with you, start to finish. We helped vendors, we helped book vendors, and everything. So you were married October.
Yes, I was. This past October.
2 months ago, a couple months ago.
Yeah, exactly.
In Palm Beach. And we had so much fun planning with you and Andrew. And you guys were so much fun to work with the whole time. But I felt like there was hiccups along the way. A little bit of hiccups, but we always kind of like got through them and it worked out. I remember our first venue visit.
Yeah, me too. We almost didn't get in.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, we got locked out and we were like, no, you can't. They were like, you can't come in. The Cardinals were like, you cannot come in.
This is the most strict place that I've ever seen in my entire life.
Well, that's Fort Knox.
I mean, I appreciate it to one extent, but another side of things, it was a little bit crazy. But nevertheless, we got it.
And then once we got in, security came after us.
Yes, they did. I thought they were going to come after me. Thank God they had learned there.
Well, you were in roll. As soon as you walked in, I'm like, oh crap, there's security. And you're like, I'm here. But it was so fun. So tell me little things on planning. How did your, first of all, how did the proposal happen? Tell us how that happened.
Well, the proposal was great. I definitely knew it was coming.
So you had your nails done?
I did. I had my nails done. Everything was ready to go. I told him initially I wanted all my family there, and my siblings were up at school. So they came down for Christmas. You know, it was that time. His family was about to leave for Christmas. So there was about a day or two that he was able to propose. And one of the days was like, you want to go to dinner? And Andrew's a big work guy, right? Like he's there till 6:37 most days.
Yeah.
This man leaves work at 4 o'clock. That takes dinner. And I'm like, what do you have? Shower? It takes 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So anyway, so he goes home, comes, picks me up. He's in a suit, dressed all nice. And I'm like, all right, you know, I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
You know, what's it going to be though? So we were going to one of our favorite places, this Honor Bar down in Palm Beach.
Nice.
And so we're walking in there and gets his coat out of the back and I see him fumbling with something. And I'm like, I think he's got
nervous.
Pocket.
You could tell he was anxious, yeah.
Very nervous. So we get down there, we walk right past the restaurant. And to this little area, there's like black and white tiles out there. It was very pretty. And he hands me this book. And it was just our like 1 year anniversary. And he put it all together and it was pictures of the past year. And at the end of it, I'm flipping pretty fast because I see the photographer come out the side. And it said, will you marry me? And so he got down on one knee, said a bunch of stuff. I have no idea what he said. I know it was nice though. And he asked me to marry him. And I was super excited and it was great.
And everybody was there? Family was there?
Everyone was there afterwards. So that was a private moment. Then we went back to his parents' house. And yeah, we had like a dinner and stuff with everybody.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So after you got engaged, what was your first step into wedding planning? Because we booked it pretty early on.
Yeah.
You found us from a previous bride.
Correct. So Brady and Montana. Brady is Andrew, my husband's.
No, that's a Brady Montana.
Yes.
I love seeing the video wedding too. They're so cute.
They're great. And I went to her first thing and I was like, what did you do? So actually, before we even started looking at venues, I reached out to you.
Yeah.
I was like, I know I'm going to need help. We kind of did like an initial guest list and knew that there was going to be quite a bit of people, at least 200. Reached out to Jacque, started looking at some venues from there. I remember you reaching back out to me like, did you find something? Because, you know,
Because I knew that
you were going to
a little bit sketchy and getting back to you and things like that. But
yeah. So ultimately, I think it was like 6 venues that we went to. I wasn't even feeling anything until the very last.
you know when you know. It's just like a dress.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell everybody, you'll know when you know. Everybody says that, and I'm like, but you'll know when you know. It's a fit.
That's the feeling I had when I walked into the venue that we picked. And it was stunning. It was beautiful. I was very, very happy with the look and feel of everything.
It was so nice. It was beautiful. Did you have like a specific vision in mind or theme for the wedding, or what was like your main interest? Like I tell a lot of couples like that. I had a couple say, I don't care about food, I just want tequila and good music. And I'm like, I'm down for this wedding.
Yeah.
But did you have a specific, what was important to you? Was it guest experience? Was it moments for you guys?
I mean, I think there's a couple of different things. Like as far as theme goes, I knew the time of year that we wanted to do it. We got engaged end of December, right before Christmas. So I knew I wanted to do it that next fall. I didn't want to wait a whole other year. So around October is what I was thinking. That's ultimately what we ended up with. And I was like, that's maybe like a fall theme. But the things that were important to me is we have to have good food. My husband's family, his mom's side of the family is Italian, and that's like super big thing for them. So better be good food, better be good drinks. Andrew loves tequila as well, and is very, very specific about that. So that was a big thing. But I just wanted to make sure everyone had fun. My family, we have a huge family, as you probably saw from the pictures at the wedding.
I have to tell you, your sister's speeches had me in tears. I was like, oh my God.
It was great. It was so awesome.
Such a good job.
They loved to party.
Oh yeah.
And so we had to have a good DJ and somebody that was going to get us all on the dance floor, and that's ultimately what happened. So that was probably the biggest things I would
Was
say.
entertainment? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that you had Mike's Type Entertainment, which they're amazing.
Yes, they are.
We used them a ton, and he really did. Everybody danced like all night long.
We filled that entire dance floor. She said it was a bigger dance floor, the biggest one that they had, and we packed that thing and everyone was going onto the carpet. So he did such a good job.
It was, and did you see, so we have the Meta glasses that record.
Yes.
We handed out all the glow sticks and we were dancing on the dance floor, and the videos came out so cute because everybody was like coming in, grabbing the glow sticks. It was so much fun. The speeches were amazing. What was your most important parts of choosing your wedding vendors as far as when you locked in your location? And it's funny because we like clicked right away because you got married the day before I got married. Obviously a million years ago. Love socks. And then you also picked the venue that I got married in.
Yes.
So it was fun for me to be on the other side of it. I've done other weddings there too, but it was so fun to be on the other side of it. And I kept thinking, oh my God, did I give my vendors meals? Did I do that? Like things like that is so different, but it was so big. And then we found out at the wedding that you were honeymooning the same location we honeymooned.
Exactly. So it was like full circle.
It was
movement, which was meant to be.
It was meant
But,
to be. You're an animal.
But I would say for me, as far as picking vendors, and I was kind of learning this through the process too. And my sister, actually, I don't know if you know this, she got married 3 months prior to me. So we were kind of learning as we went, and luckily I had Montana and some sister-in-laws that I could ask some things about, but it was communication. Like obviously I want the look and feel to be there, and there's the florist, and they definitely had that as well. Same thing with the photographer and everything else. But if they didn't get back to me quickly, and I'm talking like a couple days, when I filled out form, it was pretty.
Well, that's the thing is like, I find so when I'm talking to clients, they're like, I haven't heard back. I'm like, calling them, I'm like, they're trying to give you money. She's trying to give you money. What is taking so long? And everybody's busy, but it's money.
Yes.
Hello?
Exactly. And that's, you have a focus right now, but you want to fill your books for later on in the year. So, and for us, that was a lot of money.
It is.
It's a big deal. I want to make sure that I'm going to be taken care of. So.
And that's the thing is when you're picking your vendors and you're going through things, you definitely want to find the vendors early in time. Some people are like, oh, we just booked a wedding, they have like coordinators. You're playing like me. So they booked us December 29th, okay, for February 15th. They have nothing booked for the venue.
They just booked you this December, and now in February they're
6 weeks. I said, when did you book your venue? 4 months ago. I said, and you want me to pull this wedding together in 6 weeks? Yeah.
No, I was deciding stuff very early.
Very early. And that's the thing is you want to get your vendors that you want, not the ones that are left. So make sure it's never too early to book vendors. We just started 25. We had 5 or 6 weddings on the books in 2024 for 2026.
Yes.
Book your vendors that you love and want early on.
Well, I mean, we had 10 months to plan a wedding, and I reached out right away, and there was still a couple that said we don't have those dates available. So. I
just reached out to a DJ for January 17, 2026, and he goes, nope, not available. So definitely I think that's super important. And I know we had talked about this when we were planning because we were like, what order are we doing this in? So we got the venue, get your date locked in.
Yep.
And then you want to lock in your day of people. Florists, hair, makeup, they can do a couple weddings in a day. Planner is locked in. Entertainment, you want to lock in. Photography, once that data's gone, it's gone.
Exactly.
So I think that's super important. Why'd you choose us? I mean, I always like dumb, but.
I mean, we had a first call,
Yeah.
And that was so easy. It was like I already knew you
like
prior
your
to.
friends.
So that was super easy. I just feel comfortable.
Did you interview other planners?
I didn't get there, believe it or not, because I reached out to other people and they didn't respond. And that was a planner. I was like, no, I can't do this.
If you're calling a planner, it's because you're type A. It's because you need somebody just as organized who understands what you go through, understands the details that need to be in it, and who can guide you along the way. It's not that you're disorganized, it's that you're organized, but you've never done this before. So you want that. So if you're not getting back to them, they already know that you're not going to be organized.
Exactly. And I'm extremely type A, as you know. I probably could have planned a wedding myself, but I didn't want to have all of those worries and be stressed out on wedding day. And my mom's the same way. So I didn't want her to be stressed out. And there were so many little things, I'm sure we'll get into that, but like that you guys helped out with. That
Even down to the day of, because something
Yes.
will always come up. Something, we've had an officiant have a heart attack on the way to the wedding. Something will always come up. It's how do we adapt and overcome? And I've had, a strep work on the dress, and the maid of honor said, "Oh my God!" And I'm like, no, we got this. We just talked about it on a podcast a few weeks ago that we had a bridesmaid's dress break. And I mean, the whole zipper broke. It wasn't a matter of sewing her back in. And she had short hair. She couldn't put on me all like this. So we ended up, Becca called. She goes, "Do you have safety pins?" I was like, "I have none. I have safety pins." She comes in. I said, "Oh, no, I don't have enough for this." It was like the dress was not made correctly.
Wow.
We ended up cutting. She had 2 straps. We cut 1 strap off each side. We double knotted it. We cut holes throughout her whole dress and made the corset top.
It still looks good.
Look good enough.
I like it. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. Where are you gonna get a dress?
Definitely. So you knew right off the bat that you needed a planner or wanted a planner right off the bat.
Absolutely. It was one of the first conversations that Andrew and I had when we were talking about wedding planning.
And I think it's important because it does help keep you calm and relaxed. I didn't have a planner. I did the same wedding you did. I had ceremony stuff at location, but it's not that my wedding didn't go well, but I was totally stressed the whole day. I was totally worried. I was not sitting with my girls. My bridesmaids were running around like crazy doing everything for me. And I think it's important. I do regret not being able to relax with my girls. And so celebrate me for once. I was still planning everything.
Absolutely.
So in the decision-making process, was there a specific moment that like sealed the deal for you of like, this is it? Or did you just know in your gut we weren't going to suck? No, I'm kidding.
I knew right away. It's funny, I was looking through my files and I had like files for every category of vendor, the venue, everything else. And for yours, it was literally just studying in for like an event. So I didn't even have anyone else. I just knew because you were so highly recommended by somebody that I trusted so much that it was a lot easier to fit for me. It was an amazing wedding.
So good. And you guys both had huge weddings.
Oh yeah.
Because I remember her wedding we had to put drapery up because it couldn't fit in the venue.
Yeah.
You have another wedding coming out there and you invited 408.
They had 300 people in that.
I know, and they could, and I was like, that the venue can't fit that many. And she goes, "I know, we're hoping they don't come." And I was like, what can I do? I was like, open those doors.
I guess we'll see, won't we?
Exactly, right? What do you think you appreciated most about the whole planning process, and what was your favorite part of the planning process in regards to the whole wedding?
I mean, looking back at it, I probably shouldn't have stressed about the little things, I would say, but it was just so much fun. Like, this is the one moment in your life that you get to do this process. And I knew I had you guys, so like, as far as the timeline and everything goes, that's what probably stressed me out the most, and I knew I didn't have, especially when I met with Becca.
She sucked. Tell me she sucked. I'm kidding.
No, she was great. Her and I booked on a call, I probably like 2 months prior to or whatever, just went through every single little detail.
And there's a lot of details.
There was a lot of details, and I provided a lot of details, and you had it mapped out, and I was just like, I just feel so relaxed.
Yeah.
And I know that wasn't in the decision-making process. I already made my decision. I made it quickly with you guys, and it just was easy.
What about with the other vendors? What snapped you for them? Because you had a fantastic photographer.
We did.
Amazing venue.
Yep.
DJ was incredible. Was it our recommendations that helped guide you? Was it other people's recommendations? Or was it, like you said, mainly the responses and things like that?
Well, I definitely used your list because I knew that you had used all these people before.
Yeah, you don't get on our list by not working with us.
Exactly.
We've used them, they work with us, and there's been times we've had colleagues and neighbors and be like, "I need this now," type of thing. So for sure.
So that was big for me, I knew you had the relationship already built. This was something that I wasn't really gonna mess around with on Google and say like, oh, I hope this sticks. You know, I'm too much of an overthinker for that. So I wanted to see what your recommendations were. And then from there, obviously vetting them out myself. Were they responsive? Most of them really were.
Oh, yeah.
And then what was the personality from there? Like we all pretty much had Zoom meetings, and did they match the vibe? Like, you know, I interviewed a photographer and I told him I didn't want to do a first look, and they had pushed and pushed and pushed after that to do a first look. And I was like, this isn't going to work. Like I need us to be able to work together.
Well, it's your day. It's not exactly. I get what works better in the timeline. I get what you do in the past. I get sunset time, and I get the behind the scenes factors. But it's your day.
Yep.
And it just needs to be reflected and customized for your day. And people do first looks and don't do first looks, and that's the thing is, your photographer love you for a first look, but if you don't do it, it's okay. We just roll with it.
Exactly.
And I think, especially with DJ and photography and planner, you have to find people that vibe with you because they're the ones. The photographer and me or the planner is going to spend the most time with you.
Yep.
And the photographer has to bring those candid shots out. And if you're like sitting there with this awkward pose, it's going to look awkward and not organic.
Exactly.
The DJ is the only vendor that's running the entire wedding and not knowing anybody but making these announcements and having to look like he's known you for years and make it very personable. So I think that's a great job. Everybody was really, really on point.
I was very impressed.
And I remember I kept telling Becca before the wedding, she said, okay, 200 people. And I was like, I'm not even worried because she's got such good vendors. Like, and that's when you bring that dream team together, we all work so well together. It's so easy. And I like forming new relationships, but I have big DJs who are like, hey, you're here, cue me on everything. It's like, dude, I have like 4 other vendors to work.
Yeah.
So little things like that. Your florals were stunning. They were so fall.
I loved them so much. And we got so many compliments on them.
Beautiful.
So we got the bouquet pressed. Thank God, after frame, because I'm like, I really want to take this home with me. They look so good. I'm so impressed.
They were beautiful.
Yeah.
They were absolutely beautiful. I will say the one thing that we had never done at your wedding, or until your wedding, and it made us nervous was that time to lunch. We were like, what do we do? Don't touch it. We didn't want to open the bomb.
It looks like a bomb.
So essentially, you pull the pin as soon as you say I do, and it's called time to launch or time since launch.
Time since launch.
And we're like, it's very important, Andrew. It's very important. I'm like holding it like, oh no. So I remember taking it out of the first lines and we put it by the ceremony, and I'm going, I don't want to like not have it out in the box if it's not supposed to be out of the box. Like I don't know how this thing works, but I was like, I don't want to just set the box there and have him like have to open it and be like, what are you doing for pictures? Like, why is this open? But I remember walking to going, how do we open this? I'm so scared that I'm going to pull something and it's going to launch like 3 hours before ceremony or something. Because once it's done, it's done.
Exactly. It starts counting up from there. And I had no idea how to use it. I've never done it.
And you said, one time. So you go see him and I'm like walking through the whole venue like.
Well, he's such an Instagram ad guy. For whatever reason he's a sucker for that. Love her to death. It's so funny. He's like, we should do this. And I was like, that's actually really cool. It starts counting from there. It's still counting. It's like 75 days or something like that. It's sitting on our account.
And it goes forever.
Yeah.
I think that's really, really cool because I remember, and we have the video of it. That's one thing that they didn't do right after ceremony. We ran and got it for you.
Yeah.
And but it was like seconds later. What else? Something else happened during your ceremony. The babysitter disappeared or something. Because I was something.
I remember watching a video of you holding the baby. We did not light our unity candle.
That's the other thing. Me too.
And we just like missed that whole table over there. I think, I love our pastor. He's fantastic. And that's the one thing that I do wish that I would have. I trusted it so much that I don't think I reconfirmed. Yeah, like we had a brief conversation over breakfast, but I know he does weddings all the time. And he has to, preach at Sunday.
He's got walking
church. Yeah, all the time. So I was just like, well, that's one thing I just wish we would have done. But at the end of the day, like we still got to pull out. We're gonna light our unity candle in our 1 year. So it's gonna be great.
Wedding, it was the bride's friend who was officiating. And she was so nervous before me, and I was talking to her through everything. I was reading everything on the cards. I'm going to do fine, just breathe, just talk to like their people. And so, as somebody who's never officiated, like, sure, it's fine. And we ended up, she got up there, she did the whole thing, and then she turned around and said, she goes, comes back down the aisle, she goes, how did I do? And I said, you did great, they said no vows. They said no vows. It was I do, I do, I do, I do. And then she goes, I now pronounce it. And I'm like, there was no vows. Like they didn't repeat after her up anything. And she goes, oh God, I forgot the I'm like, it's fine. Like I know it's because I see this every weekend. But
Exactly.
little things like that. But I remember it was so funny because they brought me the baby. And I was like, baby. And I'm like, walking, and I'm over here loving it because my kids are so grown now. I'm like, oh, my baby. And they're cracking up laughing at me. And then the bulls were falling. We were chasing the flowers. Did you see that the word?
I did. I saw the Instagram video. I was laughing because those are the things you don't get to see as a bride. I'm like, oh my gosh, it looks like you're having fun.
Hold the bottle. This is I'm bouncing.
There's another one now too. They just had a baby.
Oh my God.
My other brother and sister-in-law had a baby
Oh, I love
this week.
that.
So
We did one wedding a million years ago. I planned the whole wedding with the mother of the bride. Barely talked to the bride throughout the planning process. A couple meetings here and there. And then afterwards, the bride called me and said, I want to meet with you. I was like, oh God, I screwed up. And she came in and she goes, now you know my mom. I want you to plan my mom's 60th. It's a surprise. I was like, yes. So when we planned for mom's 60th a year later, her sister-in-law had the baby. I got to meet the baby. I got to see the grandkids walking and things like that. So I keep mentioning them. Let's do a vow renewal with the grandparents, have the grandchildren walk.
oh, I love that. That's awesome.
So what, anything unexpected during the planning process that kind of threw you off or oh God, oh God.
No, not the planning process. Like nothing with you guys. But you remember? I have to instantly laugh because you remember the invoice from the venue.
Oh, and the after invoice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my
Goes after the planning process. It still counts. Unexpected.
No, honestly, for the most part, the planning process, like things went really smooth. That's when I was wondering when the other shoe was going to drop. Because I always knew that there would be something that would happen.
It's just building up.
And honestly, it really wasn't that bad. We had a couple hiccups throughout the day, but for the most part, I didn't even notice most of that. But
That's the goal.
probably 2 or 3 weeks before the actual wedding, Andrew and I get an email from an events person at our venue.
Yes.
And it's like a pretty substantial invoice. She's like, hi, due to inflation, like especially we're gonna have to charge you an additional 20%. And I'm like,
It was a lot of money.
Inflation, it's not 20%. It was like $17,000. It's very crazy.
Oh my God, you emailed us and I was like, wait, what? It was from the venue.
It was from the venue. We reached out to them. They had no idea what we were talking about. We've never talked to this events person before, but this looks so legit. It had the logo on it. It had the right person's contact info. It had our address on it and everything. And so I sent it to you and I was like, watch out, like people are scamming.
Yeah, that's crazy. It looked so.
It looked so real. And Andrew calls his dad that day to say, like, you'll never believe what we got. And he starts cracking up. And we're like, what's so funny? He's like, it was me. So he bought the domain name that was exactly like the venue, but took off, since it was a country club, took off one C.
Dedicated.
And they put together a whole invoice. It looked so real. We panicked. We're like, that's not funny.
He dedicated himself to that prank so much too. He purchased a domain name.
And he was like, it wasn't that hard. I'm like, right. Don't ever do that again.
I can't imagine the behind closed doors conversation.
Oh my gosh. But it was a good laugh for sure. But that was the biggest hiccup.
Yeah.
Leading up to it.
Can you imagine if you just said, okay, and paid?
Or where would we even send that to? I mean, it happens all the time.
I wish you would have put my address on it.
No, needless to say, we did not pay it.
That was pretty. So as we were getting into the closer of the wedding, closer into the planning and the timeline and layout, how were you feeling? Were you feeling more relaxed or did the anxiety start really creeping in with the final details?
No, I was the opposite. I was more nervous at the beginning, and the closer we got to it, the more I was calm.
And I think that's part of the problem is like some of our brides book us for month up, which is fantastic when they need you to timeline and create in the layout, that 4 to 6 week mark. But I think that's part of what keeps the anxiety down is when we are with you from start to finish, we're in so much communication. We were at floral meeting. We were doing all these things with you to where we kind of went through the whole process to where you were like, yeah, we got this. We got this.
Exactly. It was just like the little details.
It wasn't like, well, here's all my shit 4 to 6 weeks in.
There you go. So you knew everything that was going on. I mean, I got excited because we're going down to see florals and what it looks like and everything else. And like I said, the timeline was what stressed me out, but I knew you guys had to figure it out.
Do you remember the weather when you left your floral meeting?
Yes.
It took me like 2 hours.
I know.
It was horrific weather. Let me ask you this. Okay. Because October this year was freaky.
Yes.
Were you not freaking out with all those tornadoes? You had to be like, what the hell is going on?
I am glad I didn't reach out to you. I'm surprised I didn't. There was two different hurricanes. They came through, and there was rumor of another one
Right before you went.
And I was just praying. I'm like, okay, like I know I have no control over this, but what are the odds? And I was freaking out to Andrew. He was like, maybe we should buy wedding insurance. But honestly, at that point, it probably would have been too late with the storms coming.
Well, it'll do it if there's not a named storm. So in between, we probably could have grabbed something up. And honestly, wedding insurance is so cheap until buy the wedding insurance.
Yeah.
But like those tornadoes were what tripped me out. It wasn't even the hurricanes. Like, unless that's the end of hurricane season.
Exactly.
That's why I picked it because I still got the hurricane season deal. But it was the end of hurricane season, and it was like tornadoes.
It was crazy.
It was nuts.
So we had checked because there was tornadoes up in near where the venue was, right? The venue was fine, and there was actually tornadoes up here in Wellington, right? Literally went right past my brother's sister's house. They hide in their rooms.
We were out towards Waxahachie and Westlake, and we saw it going through. And I'm like, oh my God, my parents are like, go inside, go inside. I'm like, I have to see which direction it's going. I'm like, I'm not. But it was definitely like a very weird, and I had just booked a full planning wedding in October, and she was wanting it very next October, and she said, I'm not doing this. I am not. I called her afterwards saying it's horrible damage from tornadoes to the house. She said, I cannot ask my guests to fly in October. She said, we're doing it in June. It's just, and I was like, June's still hurricane season, but it's usually September is the crazy month.
Yeah.
So it was very strange for October.
It worked out. It was a beautiful day.
It was that reminded me of that floral meeting because I remember going, oh my God, I'm still not home. I was doing like 20 down 441, 95 was closed, everything was closed.
Everything was really bad. It was bad for me too to get back up.
Yeah, that floral meeting was amazing though. We sat there with everything, and then we were like, let's pull some of these colors up. It was perfect because he really customized it for
He
you.
did such a good job. I was so impressed. It was the process.
It was so pretty. It was like a fall-ish, but not like deep fall. Look, there were certain rows you had that were like burnt.
Yes. And I think he called it like a chocolate, like so edible rose. And it was just stunning. It was really cool.
What was the most memorable and emotional part of your wedding day?
Oh, easily it was the first touch of our house.
That was amazing.
We sobbed. Like they were telling me techniques. I think one of the girls was actually like how not to cry during my makeup. I was trying really hard. Like I did have a tear come down, but there's pictures of Andrew.
You want to feel it
because it was so great.
You guys, that first touch was the sweetest thing because you didn't do a first look, but you had that moment together and you guys prayed together. And I was just like, we had the chills, and we're like, we do this every weekend. And we're like, but we worked with you for so long. We were so excited for you guys.
Exactly.
I love those pictures. Those are
some of my favorites too.
It's really, and it's a little stressful trying to get you guys in position without seeing each other. We don't want to ruin that. He still, when he came down the aisle, it was really cute.
It was perfect, and it got enough with the nerves out that Andrew wasn't like sobbing at the end.
No, but he was still emotional where it was really good.
Exactly.
Looking back, what was your favorite moment? Was it that? I know that was the most memorable and emotional. What was your favorite?
That was definitely one of them. And you know what I really loved too was the final private last dance. That was special. Although, did you see what happened at the end?
Your guests did not want to leave. They wanted to see that.
Oh my gosh. The wedding ended at 10. I thought it was perfect timing because I've been to some weddings that lasted longer, and it's like, okay, it's dragging a little bit, but they were not ready to go.
They did not.
And we started dancing, and I didn't even think anyone else was there. And I feel somebody come and tap me on the shoulder, and I'm like, oh, this supposed to be one of the wedding pairs. And I turn around, one of our wedding guests was really intoxicated.
Oh, no, that's what you gotta go to.
It was like, this wedding was so beautiful. You guys did such an amazing job. We're like, okay, one of your girls came and wrapped it up and got her out of there.
And she's like, I'm leaving. She's like, they're gonna have a private love scene, but you won't turn away. Yeah,
It was so funny.
I was crowd hyper, so outside getting the bubbles ready. And did you get the box where the bubbles came empty?
I don't think so.
Some of the little bubbles were empty, so we were like going around. I was like, filming the thing, but we had the bubble guns.
Okay.
So we got out there, and I was like, because your dance was taking a little because we were trying to clear the room. So I'm like, is everybody ready? And I was running through the crowd. We'll practice. And I'm running through the crowd and everyone's screaming. They're shooting out balls. And I'm like, okay, let's do it again. And I'm running through the crowd. And I was like hyping them up and getting them ready. I'm like, okay, now it's the real time. They're coming. It was so funny. But the private elastics was really special.
It was.
And that's cool. And nobody wants to, everybody wants to watch.
I know. I honestly, my parents didn't even know what was happening, but it was so special.
Yeah. Well, were there moments that you were really glad that your wedding planner handled? Well, I know what you're going to say, but
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like we talked about, like there's always something that comes up.
it's always something.
So on the day of the wedding, ready to go, very calm actually, surprisingly.
So we got there.
Well, I mean, you guys came and the way you handled it, I think was really good. So they came up and they were like, hey, so I know the answer to this question, but did you say you wanted to upgrade your chairs? And I was like, yeah. Like the chairs at the wedding venue that came with it were super bulky.
Well, and we had them on the layout. So
Yes.
like, this is what we have on the layout, pulling it from the DEO. So I knew what you were getting, but when we got there, the venue coordinator said, what time the chairs coming? I said, what then? I said, I didn't rent the chairs because all the rentals had to go to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, I didn't rent chairs. The venue rents the chairs. She said, well, I didn't rent chairs. And I was like, So I'm like, okay, maybe this is something that kind of went through, got missed as far as like maybe they didn't communicate. So we want to double check with you before I rented all these chairs.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Well, you'll say I was very nervous because I did not like the look of the other chairs at all. I was like, please work this out. I remember looking at my mom and being like, thank God they're here because I would have panicked. I don't know what I would have done.
And here's the thing is, when something like that happens, the rental place is not going to respond to a bride.
No.
Because, okay, it's like just, but when it's a planner who sends in so much business a year, they're much faster to jump at a wedding.
And then for me to try and take those falls in the middle of all that,
You're getting married.
I would have been sobbing probably.
Yeah.
Either that or just would have had to still stick with the chairs.
Yeah, I remember Becky put back upstairs because I was like, I'm not saying that. You say something. I'm not saying that. That's boss mode where I'm like, shit rolls down and you go tell her. So I was like, so Becky was just like, well, she's a little nervous, but I just want to handle it. And I was like, let's call now and get rental places. She was calling like speed dialing rental places upstairs. And I think I have a picture of Becca behind the scenes. She's like sitting crisscross on the floor in an empty venue with a dance floor. Like, hi, yeah, everything's great. 215 chairs. How fast can you get them here? Like, go with them. And she's like, and they said, well, we'll call you back. She goes, I need to call back in the next 5 minutes. Or I'm calling another rental place. And we were calling like 4 rental places.
Yeah.
And they called us back and they said, we got to ship it in because they had to make sure they were in stock. It's a Saturday afternoon season. So it turned out that they have them in stock and they're like, we can have them there between this time and this time. And it was like all hands on deck. Mm-hmm. You were downstairs, you were doing pictures. I think Brittany and Taylor stayed with you for all the pictures. And me and Becca were like unloading chairs and we're running around. And we set up that whole ceremony. The venue jumped in, the chair rental guys jumped in. Everybody was just like running. Getting all these chairs set up within, 40 minutes to an hour of crazy.
It's crazy. It looks great. If you hadn't told me, I would have never noticed.
Well, the only reason we did is we wanted to make sure that bill was okay.
Well, I knew it was coming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that was a first for us. I mean, I had like a catering team forget forks.
Yeah.
I call, and I'm at the wedding, and I call and rental places and answering on Saturday afternoon, and I'm like, oh God, because they usually only work till noon. And I'm like, oh God, and I'm calling my husband, I'm like, go to Walmart and buy every box of forks they have. He's like, wait, what now? I'm like, go to Walmart. And then the rental place called me back and I'm like, oh yeah, you have them? Okay, we can have somebody come up and get them. And she ran over and got them. Then I had to resort to call my husband back and not buy all the forks.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez. He's like, what are we going to do with 150 forks? I'm like, we'll figure that out later. Buy them.
Ask no questions.
I'll keep them in my trunk for the next wedding. Looking back, is there anything you would have done different throughout the planning process or anything that you would have changed? Really?
As far as vendors go, no. Just the one thing about, communicating with the pastor probably in advance. I really wouldn't have changed a thing. Even with the venue, I wouldn't have changed anything.
And I think that even throughout the planning process, I mean, yeah, the pastor, and I think it's so important to have it in writing because conversations are forgotten, phone calls are forgotten, little things are forgotten along the way. And here's the thing, not necessarily, I mean, yes, it's a screw up, but at the same time, your venue, you're not the only venue's wedding. You're not the only florist's wedding. You're not the only DJ's wedding. Not the only planner's wedding or photographer's wedding. So any shots you want, put them in writing because it's so much easier. Florists, colors. I had a wedding at this. She said, no, I changed all the florists were pink. They were gorgeous. She's like, I changed them all to white from purple. And I was like, I'm looking at your contract and it says lavender. And she's like, but I called them and told them. But that's a conversation. Conversations aren't contracts.
Exactly.
So get everything in writing, even if it's email, songs, put it in writing. How you want to be announced, put it in writing.
Yeah.
I think that's super important because there's so many conversations, even on Zoom. Zoom now can print out a whole schedule of the menu, but everything that was said, which I have to remember. Zooms are a little relaxed. What advice would you give couples that are just starting out, that are just getting engaged throughout the journey and the process of planning? What advice would you tell them to do?
I mean, honestly, I would do very similar to what we did. Start with your guest list. What does that look like? Start with the guest list because that affects the venue. That affects, with you guys as well, what that looks like. Obviously, working with a wedding planner or not, potentially. I mean, even if you have a smaller wedding, no, I think you just want to be relaxed. Like you said,
I think it changes the whole process.
Yeah.
We had, 200 people. So we had 4 people at your wedding. We separate the whole time. We're on radios the whole time. So like when we were doing chairs, we had, and that's the thing is, when you're booking a planning company, make sure there's more than one person on the weddings. I can't do this on my own. I wish I was that good. It would save me a lot of overhead costs. But you have to have a team of people that you, and put your team in touch with the bride the whole time. You were in touch with all of us the whole time.
Yep.
You knew Becca, you knew me, so you kind of had that whole process through everything.
Absolutely. And I would say the only other 2 things is, watching it, especially with my sister and everything else, I get to learn from her, thank God, in such a close time frame, but like front load some of the little things, the little tiny details that add up at the end where you're scrambling, trying to put everything together.
Yeah.
And that at the same time though, like enjoy the process. I stressed over stupid little stuff that I was like,
Yeah.
that didn't even really matter.
I think that's always going to happen. Don't stress the small stuff.
Yeah.
And it gets to a point where you can plan so much and everything is going to be okay. I had a bride that was like moving around everything in the bathroom house. She's like, no, I wanted tampons on the left and I wanted the hairspray on the right. And I'm like, they're not going to notice. They're not going to notice if you have 4 votives or 5 votives. They're not going to notice. They're going to notice if they didn't dance all night.
Yeah.
They're going to notice if the food sucks. Mm-hmm. And they're going to notice if your pictures are horrible at the end of the day. But your guests are there for the experience, and I don't think they're going to notice the little things that may seem big to you.
And you think you'll notice it, but you never do. I didn't even get to see like where our card box and stuff was. I saw pictures afterwards, they look beautiful, but I was so worried about it, and I was like, I didn't even get to see it, So you're the only person that really cares that much. When I go back to weddings, the only thing I really notice is how the ceremony was done, like you said, and the rest of the experience.
Yeah.
So.
And that's like they'll notice if they're cold all night. If it's an outdoor venue, it's in the winter and it's tented, put some heaters out there for your people. Like, little paginitas, thoughtful things like that. If I come to a wedding and I got a baby on my hip the whole flight and I get to my table and there's a high chair there, I'll notice that somebody thought of me and put a high chair at that table. So I think the little things on some level are important, but don't sweat the small stuff and enjoy it. Like you said, enjoy that process. Fun fact, you do franchising.
We do.
So tell me about that, because I'm just throwing this out there. But I think it's like, well, I remember when you first told me that, you're like, you guys are killing it.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what you do and how because you help companies, right?
Yes. So we do a lot of different things. I actually started at United Franchise Group, where I worked 5 years ago. That's where my husband and I met. So, we just happened to start
there, huh?
No. But we started dating like 3 years into me working there. And what we have our own brands. We have 10 brands of our own. Signorama is our biggest. It's a sign and graphics business. But
I didn't you guys do that.
Yeah.
I love Signorama.
So they're one of them. We have groceries, charcuterie boards. There's all kinds of businesses that we have, co-working and everything else. But another part of our company is we actually help other franchisors who are just starting out and are emerging.
Yeah.
What does their franchise sales process look like, but how are they supporting their franchisees and where they do it for their marketing initiatives and all those other things. And I know we collaborated a lot in that. So, there's so many different layers to it. Well, you love it. Like, this is the conversations that we have with like the family dinner tables.
Oh yeah. I think it's funny. And when I franchised out from Palm Beach, our Palm Beach location, it was 7 years ago. And it was me and one other girl in Charleston, and now we have 15 locations. We are our social media has grown immensely. We've gone above and beyond with now This Takes the Cake podcast and, you know, our room blocks and things like that. And now we have a sister company, Lemon Lime, up in our Myrtle Beach and Charleston and Savannah and Tampa owners have that, which is a mobile bartending company that helps out weddings. So it's funny, so our Charleston owner owns Sunny and Brilliant, and her husband owns the Lemon Lime franchise. So she hires him to do a lot of her weddings. That's so sweet. Now here it's different because I don't have as many weddings that need that service because most of ours are at venues with the food, their own food and beverage. But I remember you telling me that, and I was like, oh, how are we doing? You're like, you guys are killing it.
You guys are doing great. I mean, we preach things all the time to our franchise owners. Make sure you're marketing, make sure you're getting out there and you're promoting your business in those ways. And obviously you are, which is so exciting. And I love the collaboration piece of it because that's what we do in our business. Like we have so many different diverse businesses, but there's always ways to work together. Like whether it's food brands, catering, or co-working or whatever, like our CEO pushes that a ton. So I love what you guys are doing. I get your emails all the time too. And like I saw one that says franchise opportunities available and I'm like, there you go. I know what you're doing. It's super cool to see you guys grow.
Yeah, it is, and it is fun to see our grow. We get new office owners all the time, and we all are like a big girl gang of like a group text, and we just keep going. We're always in like close to each other. We were texting last night because our Port of New York office is like, it's -6. I'm like, it's 46 down here on freezing.
Yes,
which is cold for us. I mean, 70 days ago, hugs out. So
there you go.
But I think it's so fun. Our team here has a great group of people, and even my girls, like they'll email out, hey, anybody can run a wedding in Lake Tahoe? Our Maddie is pregnant and she wants to get her weddings covered for when she has the baby. And my girl's like, oh yeah, I'll go to Lake Tahoe. You know, we can run a wedding anywhere, no matter where it is, as long as you have the experience. Any memorable moments that you want to talk about? Take the cake.
Take the cake from our wedding.
Yeah, might as well.
Oh my gosh, put me on the spot.
I think the chairs. And
I think the chairs. I think the fake voice. I think the Pride Last Chance and the drunk people coming up to us. But I think like the day just went by so fast.
Yeah,
from the first look with my dad and everything. Like there were so many tears. There were so many good tears.
And it was bittersweet for us because we were with you for so long that at the end of the night it's like hugging you. It's like
I know. I remember being sad. Rebecca was like, I'm going to miss you. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah. It's like, we're not talking anymore. It's bittersweet because I'm like, well, call me for other stuff. But it's funny, my wedding last weekend, I was like, bye, I'll miss you. Please keep in touch. Just call me for baby showers and all kinds of fun stuff. And she's like, oh, we'll see you at so-and-so's wedding next month. We're guests. So I was like, oh, shit. Okay. So I'll have those people. I'll see you at the next wedding, which is a lot of fun to keep in touch. But you'll keep in touch with us.
Oh, yeah. And you never know, like, who's going to get married and stuff. I mean, I still have some of my siblings to go. So
here's siblings. We'll see you again. Thank you so much for taking the time to come out here and chat with us on This Takes the Cake. Make sure you follow us on our socials. This Takes the Cake on Instagram, Studying and Brilliant Events on Apple iTunes, on Spotify, on YouTube. You can find This Takes the Cake. We will see you next time. Thanks again.